All right, guys, welcome to the Off the Bench podcast. We got Nick Zientek in the studio with us today. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Same old, same old. How are you?
Good.
I bet you are. So, brand new with us, yes?
Yep. Maybe 2 months.
Maybe 2 months. And you're part-time with it.
Part-time,
You're working towards full-time, correct?
That's right, yeah.
And what do you do for work now?
So I do government contracts right now, and then I also am a personal trainer. I teach boxing.
You get some people in there that are uncoordinated?
Oh, yeah. It definitely comes, man. But then I also teach, like, all levels of fitness, too. So, like, if somebody just wants to lose weight, get in shape, you know, like, I'm pretty well-rounded, man. So I kind of can do everything. But, like, I enjoy teaching boxing. So, like, now with my schedule being so packed, man, I really don't have a lot of time. So I really only work with clients who are, like, I have very selective clients that I'm working with.
Did you box?
Yeah, 10 years, man. I boxed.
10 years. Did you get on was you on the circuit? How's that work?
It depends what the people want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to get good with my hands. I didn't necessarily want, like, trophies and belts and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, that wasn't my MO. I just wanted to be able to hold on with pros, man. And then I felt that was my record of achievement.
The similarities between that and selling insurance are pretty eerie, right?
Without a doubt.
When you very first started boxing, you remember that first time you got in the ring?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me what that was like?
Yeah, man. So I got in the ring. You know, I had no experience. I was hitting pads, so I might have been thinking I was a little bit better than I was, right? But the pads don't hit back. You know, a lot of people don't do that, man. They'll be super sweet on the bag.
Right.
You know what I mean? Super sweet on the pads. But again, that stuff doesn't hit back. So I got in the ring with a guy, man. He was trying to take me out, man. Right? Trying to take me out, man. So he didn't get nothing on me. So, like, I at least knew my intuition, my instinct was good enough to at least survive. You know what I mean? So, but once I got done with that, I was kind of frustrated with how that whole thing went. You know what I mean? Because I knew I was green. I knew I was new. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get good now. It's very congruent with this, man, because you get whipped at first, man.
Sure.
Same thing on the phone, you're getting whipped. Same thing, and you know what I mean? Like, no matter what it is, like, it's a process. There's no circumventing the process. So I would get beat, man, a lot at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, all right, be here tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because I'm coming back. That's just the MO, man. And so it's like, if you just keep coming back, man, to anything you do. A lady the other day, she was giving I guess like a motivational speech or something like that. And she was saying, double down on the things you're great at. Right. I think that's not right, man. You know what I mean? Because everybody's not great at something when they start. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have the talent to do that.
Right.
It just means you may not have enough education or enough experience in that. But doesn't mean you can't be great at that. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I also see that like as a sign of weakness. Like, do what you're only great at.
Do what's easy.
Yeah, do what's easy, right?
Right.
And then what happens when something's hard, though?
That's right.
Or what happens once you master something that's extremely hard? Then that's really going to catapult the things that you're already good at.
Yeah.
Because you have more confidence and competence in that area at that point.
No, I agree. That makes a lot of sense, and it's crazy because you have to get good at the stuff like dials, setting appointments, your schedule, and your lead flow. Like, if you master those three things, dude, this business is a wrap, right?
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. And you had, like, over the last 2 weeks, you've helped 14 families.
Yeah. Last
week it was 8 part-time.
Part-time, yeah.
And just so y'all know, like, the average premium across the board for a life insurance policy is $1,000. That's the average premium.
Correct.
And so that's average family helped is $1,000 per year. And then commissions range from 90 to 145. But you did that 8 times last week and then another 6 times the week before.
Correct.
And here's what's crazy. You're doing it part-time.
Part-time, yeah.
And now, when you started here, did you get punched in the face on the phone?
All the time.
All the time.
I'll be up late at night, man, just like plotting, you know what I mean? And I would call you like, man, look, I could feel it, I could see it. I know something's about to happen because I can see it, you know what I mean? But it just wasn't coming into fruition at my time. You know what I mean? Like, I want it to come right now, you know what I mean? But I knew, like, all right, this is the process. There's no circumventing the process, nor do I want to. You got to take the steps, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no elevator in life. You can't just, I don't want an elevator.
Right.
You don't appreciate the stairs.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like, step by step, man, you get there. You know, how many people I've seen, man, just wind up trying to take the elevator. They might get there real quick, then they get whacked because they got there too quick. They don't have the experience. They don't have the process. They don't know everything. You know what I mean? So even as boxing, you know, I did that for 10 years. Now I'm able to teach boxing because I went through a process. I can't teach something that I haven't went through a process.
They haven't done it. Correct.
How can I teach it? Because I don't know all the problems in it.
That's right.
So I can't address it and say, you know what, I felt that, I've been there, I've done that. This is what you do to that.
And y'all, like, boxers are I mean, have you ever been into a fight? Like, watching boxing to me is it's impressive because they're 3-minute rounds.
Oh yeah.
and there's usually at least 8. Sometimes there's 12.
Mhm.
I'm like, can you out? Like, I can't even imagine.
So not to mention like how tiring it is to even just do, to hit, even if you're working the bag, that's super tiring.
Sure.
You got to multiply that by 2 to 3 because when you get punched, it takes a lot of energy out of you too.
Oh, snap,
Not to
right?
mention once you're fighting, man, like if you miss a shot, that takes more energy than just think like if a bag's going to catapult your hand back to you. Then you got to tap into the mental game. It's the same thing with this. It's the same exact thing, because it's like you get broken down. Look, man, I can't tell you how many times in the past couple of weeks my last appointment has been my appointment.
That's right.
Because it's like you're getting beat. Then you hit that last one, and it's like, both of y'all want to get back. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So it's like the same thing. You just got to stay like consistent. Like no matter what, man, I'm coming, man.
Did you ever feel like not going to your last appointment?
All the time.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot of people feel that way.
And it only takes, then again, it only takes the one to hit the last one. Then you can reflect back off of that. Like, you know what, man,
it's all worth it.
Yeah, it's going to be worth it.
It's all worth it. It's like going 9 rounds, getting your ass whooped.
Without a doubt.
And then you connect in the 9th round and knock the fool out.
Yep.
I mean, same difference.
Same thing. Or that run you don't feel like doing. Or you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like a lot of these things, man, like I don't feel like doing a lot of stuff.
No doubt.
What I mean? Like, dude, I'm working full time. I'm working, I'm grinding with this for sure, man. And then I'm doing personal training in the morning. Like my work days are 16. Easy.
And you're married and you have kids.
And then like Grant, I love how Grant Cardone, he's like, you complaining or you bragging?
I got option A and I got option B. And they both are make it.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
And I got 2 girls and I got a wife. You know what I mean? But I'm bragging about that.
Right.
I mean, like, I like to hustle, man. I like to get it done, man. Because it's like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it?
That's right.
Nobody's going to do it for you. Like a lot of people have that assumption, like the cavalry's going to come and rescue you.
Right.
Right. That ain't going to happen, man. That's just not reality. Hold yourself accountable, get yourself up, and learn what you got to learn.
Yeah.
If you're uneducated in whatever area, have it be sales or whatever you're trying to do, buy a book, man. Read a book. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Ask somebody. You know what I mean? Don't be too cool to not know.
Sure.
Just say, look, you can either be done forever, or you can be done for 5 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
Like if I just ask the question, like, look, man, I don't know this. You might look dumb for the second, but I'll tell you what, after you give me the information, then I know.
Then you know.
And then you continuously, gradually grow your information.
And no doubt, dude. I love your attitude and your mindset. I've loved it since day one. It's why I enjoy working with you. And I knew, and it's funny because I've been doing this for 12 years, and when you start talking to people, like who you can say what to and how to say what to certain people, you get better at. In the beginning, I was really terrible. But like with you, you call and you'd be like having some tough days, and I would just laugh and I go like, good. Because I'm if you're going through it, you might be aggravated that I'm going good. But in the long run, it's those lessons that you're learning getting beat up. I can't teach you. Like you can train all you want for boxing. You can train all you want to be a soldier.
Yep.
You can't reenact actual fight, right?
Nor should you want to, right? Even with that soldier thing, like even boxing, right? So like sometimes you'll have guys who come in, I say I'll be in like a Gold's, for example, Gold's gym, right?
Yep.
And the people will come in, they're like working the bag. And they're like, yeah, man, you boxing today? I'm like, bro, this ain't, you know what I mean? Like it's almost offensive. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
this ain't boxing.
This thing doesn't hit you back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and you haven't taken enough whoopings to be able to deem yourself even being able to be in the sport of, you know what I mean? I don't necessarily say you got to say you're the heavyweight champ of the world.
Right.
But you haven't even got punched once.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So like and same thing with the military. Like if I'm running and I'm like doing whatever if I'm singing the songs or doing the things that military, like how offensive would that be of me, man, to say, you know what, I'm basically like a Marine.
Right.
No, I'm basically not, man. I'm basically running. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
that's right.
Be it, man. Don't say, it's easy, especially like now with Instagram and all these things, man. Like it's super easy
Right.
just to try to talk it without having to have been through it. Like
Sure.
I appreciate processes, man. I like to go through the process. You know what I mean? Like, and even like I told you, my daughter, she had cancer when she was 2. She had leukemia, and then she's 6 now. She's in full remission. But like as soon as she got sick, man, I told my wife, I said, look, man, we got some time ahead of us. This is like a 2 to 3 year process. You know what I mean? God willing. It's going to be a lot of lessons in here. Pay attention now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's not get to the end of the 2 to 3 years and then be like, well, like
regret. Yeah.
Let's focus. Let's get these lessons that are about to be taught to us. You know what I mean? Like, let's instill these lessons in my daughter, and you know what I mean? Like, and do that. No matter what the problem is, man. Like, it's always a process. It's always a learning experience through that. And if you could see that, man, you could just That's what it is, man. Through your dying day, like it never stops.
It never stops. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like that's what my nephew passed away at 8 of cancer, brain cancer. It was brutal. This was 11 years ago, maybe 12, coming up on 12 years ago. And in fact, he'd have been his age. And it's like, and it's a nephew, right? It's not a child, but you hurt for everybody, especially the child. What was that? I mean, that had to be by far the hardest thing you've ever gone through in life, correct?
It was tough. Yeah, it was tough.
How did you keep your mind right? Because I as positive as I am, I really don't know, and I pray God never tests me that way because my kids are my life, and I might lose it. And for you to have the mental fortitude to go, pay attention. There's gonna be lessons learned in here. That's pretty impressive. Like, where did that come from?
So, couple things there, man. So my wife, we were following this another family. Well, my wife was. I try to, like, if something's negative, honestly, like not negative, like even sad or depressing on social media, I like stay. I try to stay positive. You know what I mean? But my wife, she wound up getting following this other couple, and she said those exact words, man. She's like, I don't know I would not be able to handle that if that got put on me. Man, it was like 3 months later, and we
Jiminy
found out,
Christmas.
Yeah, it was like 3 months later, man. We found out that our daughter had cancer. I knew this wasn't a Nick problem. I knew this was a God problem. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that I can personally do. You know what I mean? Like, the chemos are great and all that kind of stuff is great, but that's off of the information that the doctors have.
Right.
I know that God's a healer, man. You know what I mean? So like,
sure.
I said, look, this ain't, this is bigger than me. I'm gonna put my belief in Him. Period. And then I did that, man. And I just stayed consistent with that, man. So
wow.
I was, I found out, man, I was crushed, man.
Sure.
So I was on the way home, and I went home and I was praying, man. Like, just I didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, it broke me down. It's one of those pains, man, to where you like feel it just pierce your soul, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And I felt that before. But it's just one of those. It's like a deep one, man. And then so I'm on the way back to the hospital, man. But so backtracking a little bit, my wife and we were in the church, and I went into a fasting, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, my petition was, for God to take me deeper with Him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So 3 weeks later, man, we find out that that she had cancer, right? So I was on the way, went home, and I was crying, man. Just had to get it out, right?
Yeah.
I had to like get myself together real quick before I went back, and I had to handle this with my wife because not only as a male, man, like, it's my job to be a protector and a provider of my wife too, of her feelings and her emotions. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I can't be. I got to get it together real quick.
Sure.
And then I'm on the way back to the hospital, man, and I just, that silent voice, man, God told me, you asked me to take you deeper with me. Now you got to trust me to hold your breath.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it was like, it was deep, man. And that was it. Like,
and you did.
And I did, man.
And He pulled her through.
And He pulled her through. And at that, once I got back to after I was driving back to the hospital, man, like I remember like it was yesterday, man. It was a true revelation, man. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
It's gonna be okay.
You know what I mean? It's gonna be all
Did
right.
you have that sense of peace after, like you knew it was gonna be good?
Never had that anxiety like that.
Dude, that
anxiety I had in the house, man. I never had it no more at that point.
That's amazing.
My wife still had it. She
sure.
was still going through it. And I'm like, look, baby, you gotta get to church. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody's different. Everybody's thing is different. Some people believe in God. Whatever you believe in, great. You know what I mean? Like that's awesome, man. Whatever, Aris, we took that route. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the funny thing is, man, and then after not funny, kind of funny. After we got through, so we get out, so they told us, like, at that point, man, I'm telling you, like, no matter what they told me, like, my belief was already set. Like,
right.
Like, this might, all right, it'll be all right. You
right.
know what I mean? Like, I already knew what it was. You know what I mean? So even once they told me, not to sound arrogant, man, but like once they told me, like, oh, Camilla's in remission, I already knew. I remember exactly where I was at. I was like, all right. Because I already knew that from that on the drive back to the hospital.
I got you.
I already knew she was good to go. You know what I mean? Like, I just could feel it. But not to say like that there wasn't still a process there. Like, a lot of her friends were dying, man. Like, and it was real. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, be it, right? It's cool to know scripture, man. But can you can know the whole Bible back to back, but do you like live on them words, man?
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Like, man, I'm telling you, like when you're in them dorms, like you got Camilla's friends are dying left and right. Man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, do you believe that? Like,
sure.
Are you really in the valley of the shadow of death? Do you really fear no evil? You know what I mean? Like, you got to like live and die by that. Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Man, so we wound up like Camilla's in remission at this point. We go out, me and my wife were like celebrating. Again, just to backtrack a little bit, we find out Camilla's sick, and then 2 weeks later, we find out we're pregnant.
Oh my!
So like it goes from here to here, again,
right?
You know what I mean? Which is again, you know what I mean? Like it's all right, let's do it.
God's
you know
time, right?
God's time, So Camilla goes into remission. My other daughter's born. And then just so happened that the doctor who gave birth to Camilla, his children went through the same thing, and it was the stem cells of one child that saved the other child's life.
Wow.
So he wound up banking our stem cells for us, man. It's like $30K, man. He kicked it out and did all of that for us. So
wow.
we still got my other daughter's stem cells. Hopefully we never need them.
Hopefully you never.
Right.
Dude, I just had stem cells in
yeah?
my knee.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not kidding you. And my nephew just had a baby, and they talked about doing that, but I didn't know it was $30K.
Yeah, it's a lot. Not to keep them banked. Keep them banked like a couple $100. I think it's like $500 a year or something like that.
Right.
I can't remember. But just to the process of it.
Of pulling it.
Yeah. We're at a dinner, and then so we had my second daughter at this time. We were at, I think it was like Texas Steakhouse or something like that. And then my wife's like, yeah, she was watching some show, man. And then she was like, I told you, like, I stay away from that. She kind of like gets caught in that sometimes.
Yeah.
And then she's like, all right, I want to talk to you. I think I have postpartum. I was like, yeah, now it's not the time for that. You know what I mean? Like, look, I'm not being rude, but like, we are not about to have nobody label you of what you got.
Right.
Now it's not postpartum time. Now it's let's make it happen time. We just got through this. And
that's right.
Sure enough, like, sometimes you need them hard words, man. My grandfather would give it to me like that sometimes.
Sure.
Like, not what I wanted to hear, but what I need to hear.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And sure enough, she was like, thank you so much. I feel so much better. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But, like sometimes people would diagnose you just for whatever reason, you know what I mean? But it's all a sense of belief, man. Like,
that's
I
right.
don't believe that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, and then that's what it is, man. People could say, and then you and I were talking about it earlier. When you're doing great, I always keep the divide by 2 factor, man. When you're doing good, you're probably not as doing good as you probably could do.
Right.
Right. Or if you're doing terrible, you're probably not doing as bad as you could do either.
Yeah.
So you always just keep that divide by 2, man. You know what I mean? So if somebody says you're doing great, somebody says you have this, you have that, as long as whatever I believe.
Yeah.
So if I believe somebody's like, hey, man, you're doing great, I could be doing better.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm not going to adopt that sense of belief and say, all right, well, I'm doing great, man. I don't need to do anything else.
Yeah,
you know
no doubt.
I mean? Or if somebody says you're doing terrible, I might be, and I know, and I'm going to fix it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So like,
but it could always be worse.
It could always be worse, man.
That's right. It could always be worse. So your perspective is insanely good. Just because, like, when people call me with issues, I always go, first of all, it's not that serious. Like, you're alive. Your kids don't have cancer, right? That's exactly what I say to people. You've lived that. So, like, bad days for you are a walk in the park. I would imagine. I mean, do you still mentally have to do your, whatever you do, if you read daily or if you have things you say to yourself? I mean, do you still go through all that?
Absolutely, man.
Okay.
Just like everybody else. Like sometimes I still bring it home. My wife's like, look, man, you got to leave that at the door. You know what I mean? She tells me because I get frustrated, man, because my thing's not only monetary, right? Money comes to value.
Right.
The more valuable you are, the more valuable you could be in the marketplace in any area. Money's going to come. It's a byproduct of value, right? So, but I measure against potential, man. Like at the end of the night, dude, if I feel like there's something else I could have done, it would have been even one more call that I could have made, or one more stop that I should have went and tried to hit the door real quick, or whatever the case may be. Like, and I didn't do that. One more rep in the gym, one more whatever.
Sure.
I feel like I quit on myself. I'm hard on myself, man. You
Good.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I am, and I'm also hard on those around me too, right?
Yeah.
But it's fine because everybody levels up. There is no other way.
There is no other way. And again, I love talking to you because it's refreshing for us. I mean, and you don't know this yet, but you're going to change a lot of lives based off of, this right here is unbelievable. What do you think? Because you're so new, and 12 years ago, I've been doing this for 12 years. I don't remember like it was yesterday what it was like to be new. So what do you think we as a company like FFL National could do differently, better? What do you think was one of the biggest struggles that you had the first, few weeks? Because you really, over the last 2-3 weeks, you've started to get in that groove where you know how many leads you need and how to dial and all that other stuff. But is there anything that you think could have been done differently in the beginning to catapult you a little bit faster?
So I think, again, man, going back to process, like I think it's imperative not to try to circumvent the process. So like, look, man, if you kick out whatever amount of money for your leads, if you break even, but you gain information through that,
it's a win.
It's a win. How do you lose if you learn, man?
Right.
And the next thing you know, the more, again, that's value. You have to be valuable in any marketplace in order to produce. You know what I mean? Like, so if I can, and then I think that's what we did great at, man. I mean, we got solid people who are like all willing to teach, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got great videos. I told you, you know, as soon as you're like, man, look, man, watch them YouTube videos. I'm like, YouTube video. All right, we'll try it. Then I'm calling you like, man, I cannot believe how much I learned off these YouTube videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a game changer. So I think that's a great thing. And then just somebody who's doing it, don't try to recreate the wheel, man.
Just follow.
Do what they're doing. You know what I mean? Follow suit, man. If just look, they say they're spending 15 on leads, spend 15 on leads.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like whatever the case may be. If like, okay, I sucked on the phones yesterday. Today I'm just gonna. You mind if I sit in your office and just listen to you for a little while?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like whatever it takes to get the information. Like, but don't think like if you come in and you break even, then it's like, oh,
It's a bad thing.
Back to that. Yo, oh, this is just it's not meant for me. Nah, man, you just haven't done it long enough. It's like kind of like an airplane, man. Like get off the tarmac.
That's
like,
right.
You know what I mean? But first you got to go through these. Like you're scared. You know what I mean? Like it's all these emotions. You know, to get off the ground. You know what I mean? But once you get off, then it's like you coast, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah, I think just like take the information that's there, man. But again, like don't expect nobody to do it for you.
Right.
I think that's another problem. You know, like and everybody wants somebody just like to give them the whole blueprint. They don't want to like have to learn how the drawings work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like learn, man.
Learn.
Ask questions. If you don't know something, ask the question, man. Like we were just talking about it. You only be done for 5 minutes or you can be done forever. You know what I mean? So it's like, look, I don't know this. I don't have this information. Who's got it?
Yeah.
All right, I need it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like take accountability, man.
That's the, I mean, accountability is huge, but people, it's hard for people. And I get it. You know, nobody likes to be wrong or nobody likes to take the blame for things. But in a business and an industry where your results are directly tied to you, then you need to learn to take accountability. Right. New guy, Jesse, you should probably see him in the chats. He's down in Orlando and he had a day yesterday. He had an appointment. The lady wanted to buy. We submitted it, but she left something out. So then it got declined. So then we were going somewhere else. And like Transamerica, he didn't have his logins. Like it was just a disaster. And then he's like, well, and it was hot. I was sweating. And I was like, rule number 73, always have a spare shirt in your car in case it's hot or they smoke or they have cats, right? He's like, got it. And then he's like, and I also forgot rule number 12, have paper apps. I'm like, yeah, you know, like there's so much that you'll learn just by doing that I don't remember. Like I've forgotten more than you know right now. And if I could remember to tell you, I would, but there's no way in the world I can think of everything you're going to go through. Right.
Yeah. So that was definitely one, man. You know, fumbling around trying to log in because you'll have to log in, then you have a user, then you got to log in 10 times. You know what I mean? Then you're fumbling. And like you, perfect example, man. That was one thing definitely that I did, you know, so I was fumbling around, then you get nervous because you don't want to look unprofessional, but then at the same time you are like trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? But then I went home the next day and I knew that was a problem. So I addressed the problem and I started just logging in real quick on my computer, just going through all of them. Like I would just, you know, have a process to where it's like, all right, my boxing coach would tell me this, man. He would say, amateurs do things till you get it right. Professionals do things to where you cannot get them wrong.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I mean?
Say that one more time.
An amateur does something to where they get it right. Once you're a pro, you do it to where you don't know how to do it wrong. So like if you throw a jab, you know what I mean? Like an amateur's going to learn how to just throw a fair jab.
Right.
A pro don't know how to throw a wrong jab.
That's right.
He couldn't if he tried. It would feel uncomfortable.
Dude, that makes sense.
Without a doubt.
That makes a lot of sense.
And again, that's process, man. Like, you know, you got to throw, how many jabs you got to throw till you become to a pro level?
10,000, I'd imagine. It's 10,000, right?
At least, man. You know what I mean? Like, and it never stops. And then even with that, like, you got to stay on. I don't even box anymore, man, but I'm always working the bag, just staying sharp. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be a theorist telling my clients something that I'm not doing.
Sure. Now, how important? So you're plugging into an office, our office down in Linthicum, Ryan Urbanski, him in Honor and Valor, right? Yeah. How's Ryan been?
Oh, he's solid, man. That's my guy, man.
Right?
Yeah, that's my guy, man. So helpful, man. Super helpful. Always, he wants people like, honestly, you know how, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I want you to win until you start winning.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean? Right. Like, yeah, this guy, man, I don't know who he thinks he is. You know, Ryan's not that, man. He's a winner and he wants to produce winners, man. And if you want to win, like you got to, you know what I mean? That's another thing. Like you got to be astute to information, man. You know what I mean? Like if you got somebody who's kicking, you know, producing how Ryan's producing, and you have access to a guy who wants to help you,
right?
You got to be a fool not to do that, man. And if you don't want to, then you don't have. And then you and I were talking about the other day, man. All of this is predicated off of a why. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, the what's not going to matter.
Right.
Somebody could show you what to do. If you don't know why you're doing it, like whatever that why is, it could be different, man. It could be, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I said, when my daughter got sick, man, we got wrecked financially.
Sure.
So my why completely shifted there, man.
Absolutely.
Like, I would never be broke again, man. I made I signed a contract to myself that, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, nah, that ain't never happened to me. But if you don't have a why, man, I think it's going to be like, you got to find that out, man. Why
It's
are you
hard.
doing it? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Is it your children, man? Is it your wife? Who knows what the why is? Like, is it because you want to prove something to yourself, which is great. You know what I mean? You want to prove something, you want to prove somebody else wrong. That's great too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, man, we're down there. We're always tapping in. It's much better being me personally, like being in that environment.
Yeah.
You can just listen to the room, man. You can feel the room. You can learn quicker like that.
I agree.
It's almost like just learning by osmosis. You know what I mean? Like once you're just in there, you're continuously hearing that. And
That's
just
right.
Surrounded by that.
Yeah.
And then not to mention, it's like if you got it, just like anything else, instead of having to, even when I'm in the field, sometimes I'll call them. You
Yeah.
have to call around, hey, man. You know
No
what I mean?
doubt.
Yeah, but like if I'm in the other room, I can say, hey, yo,
That's right.
what do you do? You know what I mean? Like it's just access the information.
Well,
Tip of your finger.
that was, I mean, not a test, but I'm like, you should go because, I recruited you.
Correct.
Ryan doesn't have a financial gain by helping you.
Right.
He's just a team guy.
Yep.
But I recommended you. I say I'd go down because I'm not in the field, right? There's nobody better to watch than him because first of all, he works like a maniac.
Mm-hmm.
And you do too, because you have a job, full-time job, another part-time job, and you have this, and you have 2 kids, and you have a wife. So you weren't afraid to work. I knew that, but we were going to find out real fast when I put you up there with Ryan, because dude, my man doesn't play around, does he?
Nah, he don't play.
I appreciate him more than you even can imagine, but he talks to me about you all. I just saw him Saturday night and he was like, man, Nick's a beast. I was like, is he ever? He's like, he's gonna do big things. I'm like, I can't wait to see it.
And that in and of itself, man, having, prior, you like, it's super important to the people you're with, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just like the old cliche saying goes, your 5 friends are, show me
Closest
your friends,
friends,
show
yeah.
you your future.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But that whole so much should be true, man. Because even like with joining this organization, this company, man, it's completely different, man. Because like when I first talked to you, like I told you the other day, you told me like, look, man, you want me to help you, I'll help you. And then you didn't even have to say the rest. I already knew what the rest was. Like if you don't, you don't. You know what I mean? But it's like you're not trying to like convince me, like, hey, man, do this, then do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like do it, and I got you. You don't want to do it, don't. Period.
It's up to you.
And that's what it's got to be, man. But I believed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I believed in you. So I'm like, you know what, man? I got it. I told my wife, I said, Frank's solid, man. You know what I mean? So you got to get like around people. And same with Ryan. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. He's like, look, man, I don't really care if you win or lose. You know what I mean? But if you want to win, I got you.
That's right.
You know what I mean? If you don't, I'm producing.
That's right.
And that's what it's got to be. Like it's like either way, I have no food coming off the table.
That's right.
And I can help you put food on yours, or not.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it's got to be, man. Because you can't coddle everybody, man.
No, you can't.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't.
And you can't. It's like trying to tell somebody to quit smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? Like if they don't want to quit, they ain't going to quit. If somebody don't want to win, they ain't going to want to win.
That's right. Winners are going to win. It's fine. I read something the other day. It said, why is it that lazy people or losers will wonder why they're not winning and believe they're working hard, and winners win and wonder if there's anything they can do differently and always feel like they're not working hard enough?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going like, that is so true. You can't even why is that? Like, how is that? Because I talk to you and you're always going like, you said it, you're hard on yourself. What can I do differently? How can I do this better? How can it be more efficient? Where does that come from? Were you always that way, or did you have to work to become that way?
I think it's probably from, honestly, man, it's probably not from having none. You know what I mean? Like, just, I don't want to go backwards. It might have been this thing that I got hit financially with, as far as from a monetary standpoint, right? It might be from this thing I had about my wife's coming to me, when I couldn't work, man, when Camilla got sick. I had to be in the hospital with her, right? So she would come to me with these bills, man, like, what are we going to do? You could sell it a couple of times. Like, so I'm in the room reading, dude. I lock myself, I had like a lock in.
Right.
I didn't have information. I didn't know the business area. I came from cutting meat. You know what I mean? Like
right.
At that time. So it's like, you can't parlay that. You know what I mean? Like, what do you know how to do? Cut meat? Like, well, that has nothing to do with nothing. You know what I mean? So, right. So I'm like, all right, I need information. So it was walking to the fire deal. You know what I mean? So like, I went to college, learned out real quick that was not it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
sure. Like
what I'm reading in books, I'm informing the professors, and then I'm like, then I'm asking their credentials, like, like, tell me something. I need a receipt, man. Show me the receipt. Like,
that's
what
right.
have you done? You know
sure.
what I mean? Like, And that wasn't it.
They don't like that.
Yeah. So I'm like, this ain't working, you know? So I found information in books, man. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think a book is a product. It has to continue to sell multiple copies of it. It has to be information in there for it to do that. You know what I mean? So like, if I can get information for $15, that was my game at that time.
Okay.
So I just started reading like a madman.
Nice.
Because I needed information, man. You know what I mean? So anyway, man, my wife would come to me like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, baby, it's going to be fine. I have faith. Everything's going to be great. You could sell that a couple times.
Yeah. Right.
Month 3 and 4 or 5. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, that's great. We need to figure this out now.
Yeah.
So I think just that sting, man, was like, so we got, you know, I had my daughter on my insurance, man, for 2 weeks, and it was $26K. My wife was working for a temp agency 2 years prior to that. She missed a W-2, so we got hit that year with taxes as well. Like
Lord.
So we got wrecked, man.
Right.
And then it was like, all right, had I not, you know, again, taking accountability, man, I would just tell myself, like, had I not been the average person with $2,000 in the bank, this wouldn't have happened to me. Like, you could call the circumstances what they are. You know what I mean? Like, It's uncommon. She had cancer and all that. I get that.
Sure.
But also, if I would have had my money right, I wouldn't have been in that problem, period.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So had I not been just fumbling around, like trying to, you know, keep the average, you know, it's $500, $600, $1,000 in the bank or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that wouldn't have happened.
That's right.
I would have had the money to pay that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I made that deal with myself.
Not happening
I'll
again.
never be broke again, man.
Dude, I love it.
Never. And then I also don't want to be that person, man. You know, you be at the store, your daughter come up to you, ask for a piece of candy, right? You're
Not
like trying
today.
to minus 2 by the $10 you
Right.
got. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, we've all been there.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it's not fun.
It's embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like,
It
it's
is.
embarrassing to having to tell them, no, not saying give them anything, but at the same time, like, you can't afford a piece of candy for your kid.
Right.
It's not a good spot to be. Man.
Not a good spot.
So people say money and everything, man, but at the same time, like, it kind of is.
It's pretty important. Yeah.
You can't do much without it.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
That's right. And you know, just being able to give your children the best health care.
Without
If
doubt.
God forbid something ever happens, right? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be stuck with what they say you can do.
Without a doubt.
You know, it's your kids. And so that has to be huge for you. So, dude, I could literally talk to you for hours just because every time we speak, I'm like, dude, it's like you've been around here for a long time, which is good because your mindset's, it's the hardest thing for us with people most of the time is their mindset, fixing the 6 inches between their 2 ears. You're already there. Your mind's good. Your work ethic is good. Now you just got to figure out the stupid stuff in between. Like, it ain't that complicated.
And I don't think that should never stop, man. You should always be trying to figure out a better way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no matter what that is, you should continuously evolve. Even if it's something that you feel as if you master, man, you could probably, like I said, divide by 2, you could probably get a little bit better.
That's right. Always growing, right? If you ain't growing, you're dying. So, Nick, thank you so much for joining us today. I greatly appreciate you. Happy for you, proud of you, excited to see what 2023 brings. You are going to start building this thing, correct?
Correct.
If I want to come work for you, how would I get a hold of you?
You can just reach out to me on Instagram, Nicholas Zintech, or phone number 443-492-8555. And then even if you just need me to help you try to get into a better mental space. I mean, I'm not a therapist, right? Don't get me
No doubt.
Don't do that, please. 'Cause
No.
I might not be the one you want to talk to.
Right.
Damn, man, he's ignorant. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm all right with it though. You know. But you know,
Just talking to somebody positive is helpful sometimes.
it does, man.
You know, and
It does.
perspective, because you've been through some stuff.
Exactly. And then the most important part, even with that, man, if you go to somebody, you try to go to them with a solution. Let them know what you got. Don't come to everybody with a problem all the time. Like, that's not
Right.
helping nobody. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I got. What do you think?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's super important as far as from a growth standpoint. Like, try to figure it out a little bit before you go to somebody like, okay, this is a problem.
Yeah, no
All
doubt.
right, what you got? And then we can bounce and reflect off of what you got. You know
That's
what
right.
I mean? Like, you know,
Dude, I love it.
yeah.
You are the man, bro. This is exciting. I appreciate you. I think this is going to be a huge year for you. In fact, I don't think I know.
Without a doubt.
Guys, Nick is one of the brightest young folks we have. And I mean, young, I say young, I'm old. But it's refreshing to watch somebody that just comes in and refuses to lose. And that's really what your attitude is. Like, I know if Ryan's doing it, I can do it. And that's the attitude you have to have.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to come work with somebody that has a great attitude, that works their ass off, that is going through all the stuff you're going to go through as a new agent, or even if you're not winning and you want somebody to help you, he's your guy. So, Nick, thanks again for joining us. Guys, everyone, have a great Thanksgiving. Until next time, make it a big week.